We are in the midst of the most dangerous time to be on the road. It's known as the 100 Deadliest Days, referring to when we typically see a spike in deadly crashes. To talk about that issue and beyond, I caught up with Chief John Batiste with Washington State Patrol. Chief John Batiste, appreciate you making the time.
Absolutely. Great to be here with you.
I want to broach highway safety because it impacts all of us. Since 2021, yes, we have seen traffic deaths go up, skyrocketing to a 33-year high in 2023. It appears as though it went down in 2024, which is promising, but even that number is way higher than what it used to be 10 years ago. So, Chief, what's happening here? Why do you think this is going on?
Well, we're seeing we've lost quite a few officers across the state, not only within the patrol, but we also seen an increase in bad behavior behind the wheel. Terrible combination to have those two meet. So that's basically what's happening is bad driving behaviors and a lack of number of officers needed on the streets to be visible and to conduct enforcement. We're ramping up. We're seeing that improve, although slightly. And you bring up one thing, you know, kind of fewer troopers out there. I do want to point out one thing that the Washington Traffic Safety Commission said, that in part the fact that, you know, we had less traffic stops and perhaps less enforcement is one of the several key reasons for the rise in traffic deaths. So how are you responding to that? Well, I think that's a combination. That is not the sole reason by any stretch of our imagination. We went through COVID, and so that was a very dangerous time for officers on the streets. So we were doing everything we could to ensure that we protect those officers to the best of our ability as well. As you know, we lost one of our troopers, Eric Gunderson, to COVID. And COVID was one of the leading causes of line of duty deaths across the nation during the high periods of those times. So it was a very dangerous and concerning time. And the behavior of folks on the road, with the roads being less traveled, the speeds were much greater, and that was causing a problem. People were driving well in excess of the speed limit. And when they did crash, many of those crashes were not survivable.
So when you talk about these reckless driving cases, we've seen so much. Next year comes a new opportunity to pass laws. Is there a law you want to see passed that you think would make a big difference in highway safety?
Well, I know there's been attempts to deal with trying to lower the BAC level from 0.08 to 0.05. Every law that is passed has the potential of making a huge difference in terms of lives saved, injuries prevented. So that would be right at the top of my list. The BMAC, I think, is going to help when that finally takes effect. So we're excited about that.
Explain the last part that you were talking about, please.
The BMAC is a law that was passed this past session, signed by the governor, which will allow offenders who are repeat offenders, reckless drivers, to have a intelligent speed assist device installed in their vehicle. And it's designed to not allow them to drive over the posted speed limit.
Right. So this is going to impact those repeat reckless drivers. But I understand that that law doesn't take effect right away. So there's this gap here.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. That's correct. It doesn't take effect until January of 2029, and that's to allow some things to be put in place for a full implementation. As you know, this rose out of a horrible collision that took place in 2024. Where a mother and three children were killed.
Yeah, that was such a tragic story. Yeah, a lot of people remember that. So, Chief, yes, you've been around for 25 years as chief, but in Washington State Patrol overall, 5 decades. So I wanted to get your personal observation on this. Would you say the work of being a state trooper is more dangerous or less dangerous in recent years?
I would say it's more dangerous. It's always been dangerous, but today it's more dangerous. And it's dangerous in particular with the driving behaviors that are on the roadways. People are distracted by their devices, not paying attention. People are driving under the influence of drugs and alcohol, which is a very dangerous combination. And the amount of traffic out there in comparison to years ago is way up.
In the past, you've talked about the major challenges of recruiting troopers. Is it still one of your major challenges, or has that gotten better at all?
It is still a major challenge, but it is getting better. We've somewhat flatlined across the country when it comes to the ability of law enforcement to hire officers. We're one of the fortunate ones where we're seeing a rise in our ability to attract candidates to the agency.
Why do you think that is?
Well, our pay has improved, which is a credit to the legislature and the governor for helping with that heavy lift. And I think as time passes, positive things occur. We do a great job of marketing the agency. I think the profession as a whole is doing a better job of marketing the needs of their agencies. And so we're beginning to see, and particularly in Eastern Washington within our state, an improvement in terms of officers, young officers or candidates wanting to be officers within law enforcement in our state. But across the country, it's somewhat flatlined.
Of course. How many troopers have you hired this year so far, and what is that ideal number?
Well, we just graduated about 77 troopers. Our goal is to be fully staffed, in terms of our funded allotments. And we're about 200 down as of this point. We have been down as many as close to 300 troopers.
So you're in the process of hoping to recruit 300 more. Yeah, 300 troopers is what they need. In this past legislative session, lawmakers did pass $100 million in grants the local law enforcement can ask for when it comes to recruiting. But Chief Batiste told me today that that grant money does not apply to State Patrol. Those are more local police agencies.
Cool thing about State Patrol is you go in as a trooper, but you don't have to stay working the roads if you don't really love that part of it. They have so many different jobs there that are of interest. So wide-ranging areas that you can work in if you don't want to be out there patrolling the roads.
Yeah, I'm sure after this interview, he wants to hear from people if they're interested in his department.
They all do. Yeah, that's true.